Have you ever took a journey to the other side? Come on, take a ride. Have you ever took a journey? We gon' feel alive.
Hey, welcome to Breakfast with the Boys. I'm Tony the Thrill Hill. I got my son Ant over here, and we got a big-time player to play. We're going to have some fun, guys. You know, as I said before, I've had the Beast from the East, Tony Dorsett. I had Drew Pearson, Mr. Clutch. I got Captain Comeback, Roger Staubach. You know, I used to wear number 12 when I was in high school. This man was the real deal. And then we had Cubby, Everson Walls on, you know, and Walls brought it on home. You know, he's talking about being in the hood and being in his area of the city over there and talking about the strife that went over there. He had it going on. And then we had, you and I had a chance to talk about what it's all about, man. And for our listeners out here, bottom line is that, Breakfast with the Boys is like a smorgasbord. You know, we talk about it all. When you go to all you can eat, you pick what you want. So when you're on our show, it's all you can eat. It's a smorgasbord. We got meals that you truly going to enjoy, and I'm sure our next guest is going to really bring it home. Now, one thing that we always want to do before we get started and do it right now, we've got to give praise and thanks to Almighty God. You know, we could do all things through, Philippians 4:13, and we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. We're strong. We got our armor on today. We're ready to roll. And so with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to my big fellow over here. Ant, talk to me. Tell him a little bit about what's going on.
Oh, yeah. So, before we get into our special guest for today, man, I think a couple of things we want to make sure we do. One, the beautiful studio that we're in today, man, we want to shout out murraymedia.net for hooking us up. I want to talk about my niece's favorite song that hooks us up every day. Kurt McGirt, Do You Want to Take a Journey? You know, that's always we get started. And anytime she comes to your house, Pops, she's always like, pop, 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 pop.
Do you want to take a journey? I got 2.5-year-old. That's the way she rolls when she comes see Pops.
Man, so with that said, man, I think we should go ahead and get right into it, man. Today, we have another Hall of Famer in the building. We have a 5-time Super Bowl winner, the first to ever win 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro. I believe the only person to be in both the Ring of Honor for the Cowboys and the Hall of Fame for the San Francisco 49ers. We got Charles Haley, man. So thank you so much. And I think I left out one very important thing, founder of Tackle Tomorrow, which we will talk about later today. Appreciate you joining us here today, man.
Hey, man, it's no problem. It's a blessing. When Tony called, I answer.
I like it, big fella. I like it. You know, hey, we were talking as you first came in, and, we kind of talk about everything, so to speak. And, from you were born in Gladys, Virginia. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, we looked on the map and looked on the map again, and then we looked one more time. I still couldn't find it. And then I brought out the microphone, the magnifying glass. I said, there it is. Talk to me about Gladys, man.
Hey, Gladys is really small, but we're from Nehruna.
Okay.
That's even smaller than Gladys.
Woo.
So it's probably 300 families or less. I think it's probably less. It's really rural, mostly just farmland.
Yeah. So you grew up in that environment, and trying to take it. I kind of read up on the bio. I know a little bit more than I knew about you now, and again, there's always been some really good things, But you went to high school over at was it Nehruna? Is it?
Yeah, Nehruna.
Right.
Yeah.
You went to high school there. You played linebacker, tight end as well.
Yeah.
And according to you, you can run a little bit. Is that true?
I still can run. Not today, but when you go back to my hometown is segregated. It's still segregated.
Okay.
I always wonder where do the white people go, because they're never on the bus, but the bus goes kind of around where they at, and I never saw any. So I don't know if they went to William Campbell or to Ala Vista, because I never got a chance to see them. But as an athlete, my mom had to inspire me for greatness. I was a short, fat kid. I was a clown because I couldn't fit in. My brothers, they wake up in the morning, they could do anything, and me, it was a struggle, and I gave up, and I just felt like I didn't measure up, so I was just being a clown and stuff. And one day, in our stadium, it's only like 5 rows of bleachers, and then it's a hill, and people bring your blankets and stuff and set up on the hill and stuff. And I heard, "Why ain't my boy playing?" And I'm saying, "Oh Lord, please, Jesus, please, Jesus, don't." And then it got closer. "Why ain't my boy playing?" And that's when tears start coming in my eyes, man, because I'm going like, "Oh my God," she, and the coach turned around and started telling her all about me. So my mom embarrassed in front of everybody, man. I'm going like, "Oh God, I know when I'm get home, man." And that coach is dumb as hell because he put me in the game. That was the last time I ever sat on anybody's bench. And I went out there and lit it up. So then I kicked off, I punted, I played offense, defense, I did it all.
You know what's crazy though, Charles, and I think there's some similarities. You know, when I grew up, it wasn't as extreme as what you just kind of mentioned, but my dad played a huge role in my life. He was at everything that I did. You know, and before every game that I played, we had to have the practice. I had to be out in the field. If I was pitching, if I was catching, if I was throwing. Bottom line, before every game I played, probably up until I was in the 9th or 10th grade. Now, you know, it's one thing to be up in the 5th and 6th grade and your dad's out there catching with you, but up until I was about the 9th, 10th, 10th grade, I'm still going through this ritual. But the bottom line is that, I was a good athlete. But my dad, he would jump on a brother. For example, if I didn't bring it, and I did and I brought it, but he said if I didn't bring it though, he would give it to me. But he wouldn't give it to me at home. He'd give it to me right there on the field. Like you say, hey, I would hear about it right then and there. But he was, as God being my number one advocate. Without my dad, my mom and my dad were. My dad was there. And he was on me, he was screaming, "Boy, you can't do better than that. I know you can do better than that." And because I didn't want to hear it, I make sure I brought my game up to a level that was at another, to another level. And so it appears that Mom's was pretty much inspiration for you.
My dad worked 2 jobs, so he worked third shift and then he worked during the day. So we pretty much only saw him for dinner, and then see him on the weekends. So he didn't play much of a role. He never came to any of our football games. He came to a couple college games, senior day, or when I graduated, he came, and he's been to one Super Bowl, and he's a inclusive. He rather stand in a corner. He doesn't like being around people. It was a lot of things I had to deal with, and I hated him for a long time, man, because I couldn't understand why he was never available for us. And then, I started having kids, and I realized that, I got to put food on the table. They want these bikes, they want these things. I said, hey, I can't give it to them unless I work. And, so I missed my first 2 kids. I missed a lot of that stuff because I was always preparing for greatness, and I sacrificed that.
It's funny that you say that. I was listening to a podcast. I never even listened to podcasts, to be quite frank with you. This is kind of a new and endearing thing for me. But the bottom line is I was listening to LeBron on his podcast, and he said, "What does it take to be great? What is greatness all about?" He says, "You know what? It's sacrificing an awful lot of family just to make things happen." And that's keeping it real. You see, a lot of people want to admit, that you got to go work out, blah, blah, blah. But the reality of it is to be great. I'm not talking about good. I'm not talking about all right, but to be great. Longevity obviously was part of that, but also he had to sacrifice some quality time to be where he is to put him at that next level. And so I admire you saying that and understand that, because as all of us as fathers, we're all fathers in here. I got 3 grandkids with him. Myself, I've got 4 kids and 4 grandkids. And the bottom line is that, you realize a lot of things as you reflect. You grow from experience, but when you reflect, you get a chance to see, like, hey, my dad used to say, just keep on living. That's what he used to tell me. I say, hey, blah, blah, blah. I said, I don't ever want to be like my dad. And I find myself doing so many things just like him. I used to jump on these guys, played hardball. I said, I'd never be that kind of, because I don't want nobody jumping on me about playing. But I brought it. But I was that way with them. how were you, in terms of growing up, you growing up, and being like, for example, you said you were the fat boy. You were the boy that always made jokes and all that stuff. Who inspired you, to reflect, to take you to that next level? My dad used to say, if you can play like Roger Staubach, Joe Namath, Jefferson Street Joe, Paul Warfield, then you can make it, you can take it to the next level. Did you have anybody like that?
I told you her name was Virginia Haven.
There we go.
My mom didn't laugh or joke. She
Right.
was real deal, and she played sports, and she about there. They would say, I got 4 brothers, and they failed and I didn't. So it was pretty much 3 or 4 Haleys on the varsity team, and they would just say Haley boys. They wouldn't even say Charles Haley or whatever.
Haley
they would
boys.
say the Haley boys. And but my mama, man, she was there for every game. College, she was there for every college game, and I don't know how she got there because we never left. We went. The furthest we ever been is to Lynchburg. It's 30 minutes away. And we went to Roanoke, which is 40 minutes away, to do some rides. And next thing I know, man, I'm up in Harrisburg, up in the hills, and I was always afraid for her going back by herself. But the thing that hurt the most is that the school never, William Campbell never told me and my brothers that we had opportunities to go to college. They were sending them, the guidance council, the questionnaires telling them that they're looking at us. And my brothers and them got scholarships to bigger schools, but then, we were never ready, we wasn't from the right place. Nobody gave us a book. Nobody told us that we're going to be anything. And not even my mom. She went to every parents-teacher conference, and she would knock us out of the chair if that teacher said we did anything wrong. And so I really learned how to read through the church because we had to go to Sunday school and we had to learn to read. But as far as William Campbell goes, man, they didn't do jack for us.
What do you think? Yeah, that's some interesting stuff right there. Keeping it cut over there.
Yeah, that's real interesting. It makes me, appreciate a lot more about the journey. And I'm curious for you then, dominating at the school that you did, and then you get the one offer for JMU. Man, how much does that attribute to being at a small school where they're just not checking for you versus, like you said, man, you're teaching yourself to read, so it's not like they're coming over and saying like, oh, this is the most illustrious school we've ever seen.
Well, I'll correct you a little bit. Liberty and James Madison at first offered me scholarships. The East-West game, when I played that, I got multiple offers from bigger universities to go, but they wanted me to play tight end because, I could catch and I lit it up during that East-West game, and I got hit a lot in that East-West game, and I didn't want no parts of it. So, so the head coach, I asked the head coach at the JMU, what position am I going to play? And he said linebacker. I said, okay, I'm coming.
Oh, you rather hit than be hit? Is that what you're saying?
I can't take that one.
You can't take that one.
I'm a coward. Hey, when it comes down to, I like to dish it. I don't like to take it.
Hey, that's some good stuff because I played in the East-West. The Shrine game, the high school Shrine game, and et cetera, like that, and college games and et cetera. So you go to James Madison over there. Start as a freshman. Did you get any hate? As being starting as a freshman out there.
Well, what pissed me off about is when I got there. My mom. I go in. My mom. We check in and. My mom fixing my bed. I go out there to get my Foot Locker, and I thought my mom was gonna come back in, and she got in the car and left. And so all the way up the road, she kept slapping me back on the head and told me that my room is gone. She said, "Your room, you ain't got no room here. So hey, you better man up out there." And so So I was dejected because she left and never said bye. So then I go down to D Hall about 30 minutes early. So I'm there before everybody because I got 4 brothers. If you ain't at the table to eat, your food gone. And so I didn't understand that there's food for days in there. And so I'm standing there. So all the seniors come, they looking at me, telling me to get in the back and all this crap. And I said, I ain't going nowhere. And then they start telling me what they're going to do to me, man. And so I just turned around. I turned around and took some mental notes of all those people that said negative things to me. And so I go into D Hall. I didn't go back there. I stayed where I was, and I go into D Hall, and I'm sitting back there by myself, man, and my brain just pulsating about these guys disrespecting me, man. And I'm going like, no. So I go over to the trash can, and I pull all the spaghetti, all that stuff out and put it in my tray and then pour soda on it. And then I dumped it on that long table of the seniors, right? They jump up barking. They were porch dogs.
Right.
Hey, they didn't understand what they unleashed. And I sent all of them to the hospital. Ambulance was coming, even defensive players. Hey, man, I finally got it out of me, but the head coach, man, he would make me run. So, you know what? I'm going like, okay, he wants me to get endurance, so he told me to run. So I would run so hard that I would pass out, and they would have to get oxygen and stuff for me. And then, he stopped there and told me crab the field. So I would crab the field. My knuckles would be blood coming out. So then he go like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So then he made me do the stadium. So I said, okay, he wants me to get quick feet. So I would do that, man. I would do that to where I'll be falling backwards. I wouldn't stop because I was going to take that negative and turn it into a positive.
Nice.
And then he finally goes, he said, well, what the hell am I going to do with you? I said, let me tell you, either you can run me, you can scar me, but you ain't gonna break my spirit. And then from that day on, he was a big Christian, and so he brought God into the picture. And then it changed things. And he called my mama.
Oh, he knew how to really get there.
Hey, that was a game changer. When he called my mama.
Well, the amazing thing about, you reflect back to on your experience with God. The one thing that we always know, and that fact that you're here, is that God's on time. He's on time all the time, and he's always right on time. And so although we may think like, oh, can it get any worse? And when he comes through, you say, oh man, thank God, thank you very much, God. Thank you very much, Jesus. I needed you. I thought I really needed you, but now I found out when you were ready for me, and that's what it's all about, Yeah. And with me, Charles, I don't know about you, but I always believed in God. There's no question about that. But He wasn't number one in my life. Number one in my life was like after I'd make a catch, I want to thank Roger for throwing that pass. I want to thank TD for being with me. I want to thank all the boys making sure they block. And, I want to thank Jesus Christ. See, I rededicated my life to Jesus Christ in 1988. When I rededicated my life, it changed my perspective on things. I was always worried about, when I was playing, is about how much, becoming one of these Jesus freaks, hang out. They seemed like they didn't have no fun, no love whatsoever. And I didn't hang out with them. I didn't want to hang out with them. And then I come to find out it wasn't what I stood to lose by hanging out there with them, is what I stood to gain. And so as I reflect with my family, I grew up and became really big. I always believed in Jesus Christ, but He just wasn't number one. And now He's number one in how I reflect. So now you're at James Madison over here.
Well, I'll go back with Christ. I was going through some issues, and I tried to hurt myself. And my mom, I guess 12, she slapped me down to the floor, and then that Sunday I got baptized. And so back then you go to a creek after a flood, so the water's up, and you see as you're walking out trees coming down, and you see the diggings go down in the water because underneath that tree is a limb, and they're knocking the diggings down. And I'm going out, the pastor say, you better walk out here on faith. And I'm looking, But by the time I'm looking, I go down in the water, man. I'm drinking up the creek water, and I come back out, man. It changed my life. And you know, God has always been first because He was my rock. He was the one reason I had to live for. And I knew that if I hurt myself, that I couldn't have that relationship. So, and then as I started playing football in college and stuff, my mom said, "Boy, I did all I could. I beat Christ in you, but one day you got to let Him out." And you know,
okay.
and it always stuck with me that that it's up to me now. You know, she gave me all the tools. She put it in my toolbox. Now, am I going to use those tools or not?
Boy, that's some strong stuff there. That's strong over there. So hey, you're baffling. I don't say in a very good way, from the standpoint that, you know, a lot of people didn't have the luxury of understanding what they have. You know, hey, God is in all of us. Hey, so don't get it twisted over here. When you say you blessed, you know, I say, hey, Charles, you ask me how I'm blessed. You know what? Guess what? I know you blessed as well. I know we all blessed. But when you understand the blessings that are coming at you, it improves your life as a whole. Just like taking a test. When you really actually study for a test, it's amazing how much you recall when that test starts. You know, you have general knowledge. Now, as a believer, and having that context over it, it changes your whole perspective in life and how you appreciate things. And again, this is all about you. We want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. But I believe I can learn something. I learn something from anybody I talk to every day because of the gift that God has given me. I don't discount any kind of conversation at all. And so I'm going to digress on you and roll on you because I got you at James Madison, but you get drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. I'll come back to James Madison. But
by the 49ers.
Yeah, the 49ers, right. By the 49ers. I'm sorry, the 49ers. But hey, but here's the deal, though. Me and my son talking about it, and you know, we talking about your speed. And what were we talking about his speed over there? I think you made a comment to me about it. What was that?
Yeah, I said running the 4.8, man. He was faster than you.
What?
But we wanted to ask.
You ran
What?
a 4.8?
No, I ain't running no 4.8, man. Come on now.
Bruh,
Hey,
I ran a 4.48.
wait, no, wait a minute. So wait a minute. It's okay.
Wait a minute.
Oh, no.
So you know, in college, you know what I was running.
I know that you were running I don't know how you ran a 4.8. Put it this way.
There's a story on the internet that says they either misclocked you or you ran a 4.8 on the pro day, and then the team came back and you ran it again and ran a 4.5. And so we were trying to figure out. We said, wait a second, going from 4.8 to 4.5. Either what were you on that day you ran that 4.8, or what did you do after that?
Well,
Now the question was, what kind of drugs was you on to run a 4.55
let's
to
do
4.8?
clarification.
Okay, all right.
Let's clarify what happened.
Okay.
There we go. That's what we're here for.
The 49ers went over, Bill McPherson went over to UVA and to scout. And the head coach, we beat UVA. The next year, we lost to UVA. But he said they have a linebacker over there that's phenomenal. So they came over, and the 49ers, they timed me, 4.48, okay? And then when I wasn't ever in a combine. It was just some guy comes to send the information to all the team, and I had just pulled my hamstring. Mm-hmm. So I ran a 4.8.
Okay.
But the thing was, nobody, the 49ers didn't call me no more. The Giants brought me up. I did the side backs. That was it. I didn't even see one person but that trainer, and I got back on the plane, went home. So when you looking at me thinking about getting drafted, I am going like, I am not going to get drafted. And then the 49ers kept calling because they traded down to a number 2 pick, and they kept calling and said, well, we're going to draft you. And then the 3rd pick comes, they didn't draft me. So me and my wife went down to the movie theater and watched the movie. So they moved up in the 4th round to get me in front of the Giants because they thought the Giants were going to take me. And so I'm in the movie theater. My roommate, James Harrison, come down, tell me, you just got drafted by the 49ers and they want to talk to you. And I'm going like, when the movie's over. Hey,
Hey, you already waited 3 hours. Hey,
bro, you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And then I got drafted by those guys.
But you know what? That's a really good explanation because I'm gonna tell you right now, we looking at 4.8, and no, I ain't run no 4.8. I mean, if I would have ran a 4.8, I wouldn't have. Well, I had skills, but I wouldn't have got drafted at no 4.8. And he making jokes, but the bottom line is that we talking about 4.8 to 4.55. That just don't happen. You know, I'm gonna tell you, I don't care what the circumstances are, unless, as you just said though, you got a pulled hamstring. You see?
They leave that out of the story.
Yeah, they leave that
about
out.
it,
But 4.48, come on, Charles. Now, baby, come on now. You wouldn't run no 4.48 now.
I went in. I
Come
went
on
into-
now.
I went into NFL weighing 200 pounds,
What? Playing linebacker?
middle linebacker,
Middle linebacker.
middle linebacker,
And 200.
sideline to sideline,
Oh, you can go.
sideline to sideline.
Well-
They would do the run and shoot away from it, and I'll run the back down. I'll run the back down from the backside.
So when you drafted by the 49ers, and they bring you out. They draft you as a defensive end or as a linebacker.
Linebacker.
Okay, and so you come there, and the next thing you know, you got Leslie O'Neal up there with the Chargers kicking butt because he was a bad boy, and they weren't really talking about Charles Haley. You know, it was talking about Leslie O'Neal and the Chargers, and then the next thing you know, here comes Charles Haley. He's got 11.5 sacks. I think Leslie had 12, a half sack more than you, and were you weren't rookie of the year though, right? You just on the all rookie team.
Yeah, but Leslie played every down. I just shared. I just shared the field with this other guy, so I didn't have the same number of opportunities. But I was blessed, man. I came into the 49ers and Joe, Ronnie, from the first day they started playing jokes and messing with me. They made me feel at ease. I felt like I had a family from the beginning because the way they treated me. And I was a 200-pound nobody. And guys were looking me up and down and stuff. So you know what? I said, you know what? It's just like I felt like in college my first day. They disrespected me. So I walked out in the middle of the floor and I yelled up, I ain't going nowhere. I balled my fists up. Hey, because you know what? I ain't going nowhere.
Hey, I like it.
Y'all had that in common, that confidence coming into the locker room. I'm thinking about your story going into college and letting those guys know, then going to the NFL doing the same thing. Reminds me a lot of you writing "Let Hill Give You a Thrill" on the field on your socks. How long were you writing that on your socks?
Well, that was probably the first time. What he's talking about, see, Charles, when I came to the team, I sprained my ankle in the East-West game. Played in the blue-gray game, which I should have never played in, but my coach was there. I played in the Senior Bowl, but I had a sprained ankle, and I re-sprained it in the postseason. So I was projected as a first-round player, but I ended up going in the third round, first person in the third, as a trade. But when I came to the Cowboys, hey, I didn't come there to make the team. I came there to start. Hey, I did. Hey, this wasn't like some guys thinking they just to be happy to be drafted by them. I came there with the idea of the start, and I told Drew Pearson right then and there. I said, hey, man. Only reason you starting in front of me is that no matter how bad the guy is, like when I was at Stanford, they weren't starting at me. And that's the luxury you got, Hey, my rookie year I didn't play, but the next year, I did. But I put on my socks. I said, let Hill give you a thrill on the field. I wouldn't get no action. I was a young boy. I wouldn't get no action. And that's when I got the name Thrill. And then I came, Thrill Hill, shoot to kill, never miss, never will. I'm rolling. I mean, that was the verbiage I had there. But you know what? I had to back it up. I wasn't going nowhere as well. And so it's all about that attitude. It's about believing. You got to believe that you can be able to do it. We had guys that came there, they were just happy to be there. I wasn't happy to be there. Hey, I came there to play. And that's what you came there. You came to say, hey, look, I'm going to be the man. I'm going to let y'all know I ain't going nowhere. As a matter of fact, Everson Walls pretty much shared the same story over there. You remember he's talking about, hey.
Coming to guard you, yeah.
Yeah, he came out to guard me. He said, I'm guarding Thrill Hill. I don't care what. That's his rookie year. I was saying, hey, I don't know if you want to guard Thrill Hill. If you want, I don't know if you want to do that. But so man, you're playing with the Chargers. I mean, with the 49ers. I don't know if you recall, but I was at the 49ers camp. Do you remember me coming out there? So I came out there when I was released by the Cowboys, and I came to the Chargers. It was their strike year. I had a hell of a training camp, and Dwight Clark was injured. What's your brother, the other wide receiver, real good.
Jerry Rice?
Not Jerry Rice, the other who was on the other side of Jerry?
Mike Wilson.
No, not Mike. The other.
You talking about John Taylor?
Tom Taylor. You know, he was the other young. That was his. I think it might have been his rookie year then.
No, he came in with me.
Did he come with you? That was his first year. He got some serious action.
Right. 87 was the strike year.
Right. Yeah. That's the year I was over there. And the reality of it is that I had a really good training camp, and I remember you having a blast and doing your thing. See, I had never been in shorts and shoulder pads during training camp. I had never seen anything like this. I come out to the 49ers. They shorts and shoulder pads, going out to the pool every other day. Every other day in training camp. I'm going to the pool to get my legs in shape. We didn't have nothing like that. We had full pads with the Cowboys, and so I came out there and a long story short, they wanted me to play during the strike year. And I said, no, I'm not playing during the strike. And that was the last of my career right there. Yeah. And then obviously San Francisco did their thing. Talk to me about your experience with San Francisco. I mean, now you're Defensive Player of the Year. You're all world basically out there in San Francisco. Talk to me about that experience.
My experience is more about the people I played with. It's not about the accolades that I won. Bill Walsh, for me, was a genius. He inspired me to be very smart, so I learned everybody's position on the field because, I just wanted to be like him. And, when I got in trouble, I got in trouble a lot, and he would call me upstairs or he'll see me and he'll be very direct with me, and blah, blah, and then get the hell out. Get back there, it was no miscommunications there. And I loved him, man, because, he would call me and say, what did I want to do? I said, well, I want to try coaching. And he got me a job at Detroit. All I had to do was walk in and say how much money I want. And he got me other jobs. And all I had to do was walk in and say how much money I want. And just when he was dying, man, he called me 2 days before he died and said, well, how can I help you? And so he always got my heart. George Seifert was a micromanager, so I learned to be very detailed. And then, Ronnie, Joe, Jerry Rice, a lot of guys, I'm not gonna lie to you, man, half of the guys I didn't give a shit about. I was in my own world, I was in my own pain. I was dealing with bipolar. I didn't want to have friends because then they might find out what I'm dealing with. So I kept everybody arm length. Ronnie probably is the only one that really got an opportunity to be in my world, and I didn't tell him anything. But they saw it. But I always thought that we were taught to be men, and that playing football is a violent sport. So I figured that when I have outbursts or go fight or whatever, is just that's what it's all about. But at the end of the day, I had to find out it was different. The biggest thing is George Seifert, man. He went from telling his wife I never make mistakes to calling me up in his office every day, and I told his ass, I said, look, don't call me up here no more. I said, I'm not a leader for this team. That is not what I do. I said, I'm a thumper. I said, hey, I've been a thumper from the day I got here, and I'm still a thumper. I said, so now you want me to go down and ask somebody, oh, how your family doing, all this crap. I said, then they're going to know I'm a sellout. And I said, no, that ain't the way I roll. And so we started butting heads, and I guess one game against Raiders, I was saying something, he told me to be quiet, and I think I turned around and tried to hit him in his mouth, but I hit the wall, and then my hand went through a wired glass. And so I'm in there, my hand's all bleeding, my veins cut up, and the doctor's name was over to the left. Nobody would come over and help me. And they had to go get Ronnie Lott to come in, and Ronnie came in and calmed me down, and then the doctors came over and did the whatever they had to do. But I didn't have pretty much feeling in my hand and stuff from me doing that. Because at first when I swung, I put my fist into the wall, and then I went through that thing. But the problem is my anger always goes to rage, and when you go to rage, it's uncontrollable. And I never tried to get angry. Always, when the bullets are flying, the calmer I get. But sometimes it's just the emotional part gets there, and then it's just it is what it is.
Well, hey, that inspires a lot of great players, though. I mean, it's that rage, but it's controllable rage that you have when you go out there and do your thing. I don't know if you know, George Seifert was a defensive back coach when I was at Stanford. Did you guys have Norm Hecker? Did you have Norm Hecker up there as well, linebacker coach? Was he there?
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, those are Stanford guys that I had over there when I was at Stanford. And me and Seifert didn't really get along because obviously I was a wide receiver. He was a defensive back coach. And, of course, his job was to, shut down Tony Hill, or cut that off. He talked too much. Let's put it into it. So it's interesting you say that you had those conflicts over there. And so with that being said, though, Seifert kind of changed the course of your life because you ended up leaving the 49ers and going to the Cowboys. Am I correct? Is that about right?
Yes. I went to talk to Bill and about what was going on, and he listened. He stopped. He was coaching at Stanford, and he walked out of practice and came over, sat down with me in the bleachers, and we talked, and I was emotional, and he said, "Charles, it's time for you to put your big boy pants on." He said, "If I tell you to stay and you're unhappy, you're going to hate me. If I tell you to go and you don't have success, you're going to hate me." He said, "So, it's time for you to man up." And the 49ers, they had people calling my ex-wife, telling her to have me go over there and apologize to George Seifert or whatever. It wasn't going to happen.
Well, here's, and I'll let you, I think you got something to say, but here's another thing that I guess where we have something in common as well, obviously with the bond, playing with San Francisco, coaches that you had, et cetera. Walsh, believe it or not, my father was my agent. Yeah, that was my dad when I was probably in the 12th grade. He said, "Well, you make it in the pros, I'm gonna be your agent." I said, "Oh yeah, Dad, you're gonna be that, right?" And so, my senior year, after the senior year, he said, "Hey, we're ready to go. We're gonna make things happen. I'm your agent." You remember saying that, and I'm, but long story short, he was my agent. But you know who helped negotiate my contract?
Who?
Your head coach, Bill Walsh.
He did?
My dad talked to Bill Walsh. Matter of fact, basically, Bill Walsh walked him all the way to the negotiation table, said, "This is a good deal, and this is where we're going to be at." And he was the man that initiated, gave my father that direction over. My dad from Selma, Alabama, 9th grade education. Matter of fact, when he went to the Navy, ended up getting his high school degree, but that was about the extent of it. But one thing about my dad, though, is that no matter what happens, that I knew that he was looking out my best interest. I don't care what the circumstances was. I always knew as an agent, I didn't have to worry about my money going somewhere where it wasn't supposed to because he was taking care of it. And so I had that luxury. It was a true blessing over there, Ant,
Yeah. No, it's cool to hear the first, to hear y'all's takes of Bill Walsh because, my generation, the legacy lives on. Obviously, he has the fellowship now that goes towards making sure that there's minority representation on the coaching staff and internships. But, Charles, one thing you talked about, man, I think is really interesting, just like, the mental side of things and what you dealt with. And, I'm curious for you, man, the resume speaks for itself, right? 5 Super Bowls, All-Pro, you name it. Do you think that the mental side of it had to do with what took them so long to recognize you in the Hall of Fame?
You know what? I have no idea what it was. Everybody had their own thing. Nobody from left. I think the 49ers push, the reason why I'm there, I think the 49ers push harder for me to be in the Hall of Fame than the Cowboys did. I know Rich Dalrymple told me that, if he don't like the way things going, then he would stop it. So you know what? I don't know, man. And you know what? At the end of the day, if my body of work wasn't good enough, then maybe I shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. I thought I had the pedigree to be there, and I wasn't going to let them define me by not going, because a lot of people did tell me that I had it.
Well, hey, I mean, the bottom line is, man, the stats, your resume, as Anthony suggested or actually alluded to, is strong, though. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it, And you talked a little bit about being diagnosed, as bipolar disorder, so to speak, and dealing with that. That's a major, not only to play ball, but to have an illness similar to that, and to be able to not necessarily overcome, because you have to maintain, because that is part of who you are. See, some people get that all twisted, your bipolar disorder, and all of a sudden, you can be well and always well. It ain't like that.
No.
It's something that comes. It's something that's ongoing.
Yeah, it's like having heart disease, diabetes. You got to take your medicine every day.
Right.
And that's what I do. And the best thing I do in my life is I give it away. I talk to people about mental illness. Groups, kids. Young adults, and I challenge them to find that one thing to live for, because I know what depression does. Depression destroys you, man. It paralyzes you, and you get to a dark state where you don't see your way out of it, and then you do something dumb that you can't come back from. Mm-hmm. And so I always challenge people to just find that one thing to live for. I know that God was that one thing for me, because I knew if I hurt myself, I couldn't have that relationship with Him, and I wanted to see Him. I know I've done a lot of things wrong, but through His grace and mercy, I know that one day, I'll be there. And the other thing when you were talking, it's like. I played for the Cowboys for 5 years, and Jerry put me in the Ring of Honor, and which I didn't understand that. And then the 49ers, they called me, and they want to put me in that Hall of Fame, right? And so I was reluctant, and my ex-wife told me I'm going, and so I went, and so I get there, and they asked me to give a speech. And, I was the asshole. I set the record straight about how I felt, how they did me wrong. Jed York gets up and says, you know what? It takes what it takes for people to get over things. And so, I walk off. So now they unveil the statue. I'm ready to walk out. Man, while they doing that. And the next day I know Jed told me to turn around. And I turned around, and they had a Michael Jackson lookalike perform for me. I was done. Me and Michael, he's my greatest artist. There you go. And so they had him do that, man. It was game changer now. So I feel like I'm a part of that family now.
Oh, man, that's too funny. Again, we keep talking about these similarities, and again, we're complete opposite. He's on the East Coast. I'm West Coast. 49er, I'm Cowboy. Now, when we play the 49ers, there's no love-hate relation. There's no love for one another, so to speak. So we were talking about that. But here's a crazy thing about this. Michael Jackson, I actually met Michael Jackson, knew Michael Jackson, not really well because I'm from a philosophical side, but he came to Dallas, and and he burned his hair, as a matter of fact. You remember back in the Coca-Cola commercial over there? Well, I got a chance to see him live by himself in a reunion arena, and just perform. And then the next day they canceled the concert. So I got a chance to see. I brought one of my boys. Yeah. I got a chance to catch Mike, catch him, and let him do his thing. And he did it all as professional, man. I mean, my boy was breaking out, doing his stuff over here, and moonwalking, and all, the whole nine. Like it was a game day. Like it was game day.
I can beat that.
You can beat that.
I can beat that.
Wait a minute. You can beat
that. We were in London, and we got to go down in the tunnel before the concert to meet Michael Jackson, but they told us they wrote they told us the riot act. You can't do this. You can't get that. I said, shit. I walked down. Michael Jackson came on, and I went and got me a hug and took a picture, right? And then the rest of the guys, the cowards, then they came over and got the picture. So I got that at the house, and then he put us up on this high rise where you could feel like you could reach out and touch him, right? And so the other performer that I really love, I know people say Elvis stole all it. Man, he could perform. I don't give a damn what he stole, but he could perform. And then at the Super Bowl, my first Super Bowl with the Cowboys, Michael Jackson was out performing. I was out there watching him perform. I didn't go in that halftime.
You didn't go in? You watched him?
No. What I'm going in for? Bro, I told them they could have that little $20,000, $30,000. I ain't going nowhere.
Hey.
I ain't going nowhere.
So it's funny, and we got to close in a few, but there's a few more things I want to talk about. I got to close with this. I mean, from the Michael Jackson standpoint. So after I went to that concert, 2-3 years later, Mike comes back, right? So I get the boys tickets to go backstage. I got the backstage passes at the house, and so I'm taking them backstage over, and I'm taking them back. I'm the man because I'm the one who got us going back there, right? There's a brother on the team by the name of Dexter Clinksdale. He brought his jersey. I said, damn, that's a heck of a move right there, So he brought his jersey, right? And so we go back into the trailer. I don't know if you've heard this. We go back into the trailer, and there's Randy and Marlon, and because Mike had his own little gig. And Randy, Marlon, Jackson, Jermaine, they're all up here. And Randy was talking about how he's a big Cowboy fan, blah, blah, blah. So Dexter gives him the jersey, right? And I said, okay, that's a smooth move. So then we go back to meet Mike, I am Sonny. I'm Michael, blah, blah. Mike's got that soft voice, right? Hi, it's a pleasure to meet. I think Mike was more excited to meet us than we were to meet him. And I'll tell you, I'm all Michael, right?
Yeah.
So here's the deal, though. My boy Dexter, after he meets him, grabs the jersey from Randy and gives it to Michael. I said, you gotta be kidding me. Wait, took the jersey from my man and gave it to Michael and said, here, this is for you. And I got to remember, this is before the concert. I said, oh, man, you done ruined the whole context. They ain't going to talk to anybody on the stage. They're going to be mad at one another, and they ain't going to be Cowboy fans because of you, man.
The other thing that was really funny, I got to meet Prince.
Oh.
And I'm looking at Prince, right? And I'm going like, man, this is the prettiest man I ever saw in my life. So, hey, bro, so things going through my head. I'm going like, God, what is going on, man? I had to go. My old lady was happy for a few days. I'm going like, what in the world? That dude was a pretty dude, man, but he was short, man, and he loved sports.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife would love it because she was a Prince fan. She was a Prince fan. Hey, are you still the special advisor for the Cowboys and the 49ers? The personnel? Weren't you like a special advisor for rookies for them?
I for the Cowboys and them, I go out and talk to the rookies before, whatever rookie orientation, and they get to know the real deal. Not that fluff that the league does. They bring people in that talk to them about domestic violence or whatever, and I tell them, you know what? I think y'all quit lying. I think y'all got a girl at your house that you paying for, and she's yelling, and you gonna leave? I said, why don't y'all stop lying? Because that ain't who y'all are, and so I put the truth.
Okay.
To the guys, and I don't sugarcoat anything, man. I think that it needs some fresh air. The conversation needs fresh air, need the truth being said, not being tried to explain away. Because if you go directly at the problem, you can find a solution to the problem.
There you go.
But, it's how you go at it. I'm probably the luckiest man in the world because I still get to be a part of the Cowboys. I still get to be part of the 49ers. And although I don't like football no more, but it's changed so much. And players, man, they don't give a damn about each other. They're not teammates. They're a bunch of individuals, man, and that drives me crazy because individuals will never win. They'll never win. They'll destroy a team before they build one.
There you go. There you go. I like that concept. You're going to talk about family. I remember you mentioned something to me about that.
Yeah, I was going to say this. We're certainly wrapping on the smorgasbord. And try the last thing we got for you, and I'm sure you know this, but I don't know if you know this. your daughter, my sister coached her at Ursuline.
Yeah.
I use that loosely because the way my sister put it, she said, hey, she was so good and so busy at the USA team. She played for us when she had time, and when she had time, we made sure she was on the field. Hey, when you talk about your faith and all the ways that that ground you, and even that you're talking about being an advisor to the players, man, how do you think that has shaped how you raised your family and your kids and led them to be successful?
Well, the negative part of me raising my kids was I never taught them to be accountable. I just gave them everything. So now they're educated fools. And that, because they think they know more, that can do more. But my thing is that, I can get them to the door, but they got to walk through the door.
Yep.
And the drive, my younger two kids, I got an opportunity to be a part of their life from A to Z. They're highly motivated, and you know what? They take advantage of opportunities. I still have some issue with my two oldest because I wasn't there, and they just I don't know. But every day I'm trying to rebuild that family means more to me than anything in life. If you don't have family, you have nothing else. And I tried to build that foundation out of rock, and so that they know that I'm always there for them. I tell my kids all the time. I say, when life got the worst on me, I said I was laying in bed, and I said the lights just wasn't going on, and I fell down off the bed onto my knees. And I said, God, why? He said, I want to humble you. And then as I'm looking down the ground, I see my foundation all cracked up. I said, God, you've been my foundation. I said, why is it all cracked up? He said, get up, because that's a mountain you standing on. And so for me, that's what I try to instill in my kids. I try to, like my mama said, I put Christ in them. They got to let him out. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Family, it's about passing forth the love. I know you don't have long, but I want to talk about Tackle Tomorrow a little bit.
Yeah, we're definitely going to touch base. We're closing with that.
Yeah, Tackle Tomorrow is a reading program. We do all the F schools in Dallas, Pleasant Grove. We have 9 schools that we're in, and we raise money, and we put computers into the schools, desks. We put books in. We provide Christmas meal and Thanksgiving meals for them. But the thing we're doing is we're teaching them what hard work is. In order for them to get books and stuff, they have to work to earn it. And then they could go into the toy store and do that. I went to college reading 2 to 3 grade levels behind. And y'all know how much I love my mama, and I couldn't go home to see her because I had to catch up. And football was easy, but my college degree was the hardest thing I ever done in my life. Let me repeat that. It was the absolute hardest thing I ever done in my life. And I gave James Madison my Hall of Fame bus. Not because I went there, not because they took a chance on me. It's because I want these guys to understand it's not a right but a privilege to get your college degree. So that's why I started Tackle Tomorrow with Bob Bowie. And I can honestly say, from our data and everything else, we are changing the way they see education. And when I get a chance to get them parents in that school, I tell them, hey, education is mobility. Education is power because you can vote. You can make the changes. I said, but if you're going to stay in the Stone Ages, then, hey, you're going to always be powerless. And so I'm honest, I'm getting great response from the community now and the teachers. We are at one, and I'm proud to say that I can do something to help influence another person, because I want to be the change that I want to see in others. I want to be that change. I don't want to look back at football. I don't want to look back at all the dumb things I did. I want to look forward, and I want to see that change. So I really appreciate you guys showing me this deep love and give me an opportunity to say these things that, that probably never be said. But, you guys made me feel at home, so, it's okay to open up.
Yeah. So, Charles, well, then let's wrap with this, man. For the people listening, man, how can they get involved? How can they support Tackle Tomorrow?
They can go to tackletomorrow.com. We're having an event on next Wednesday, and Nelly's our special guest, so he's coming in to play poker with us. And then in September, we have a dinner and a big golf tournament. I don't know who the special guest is going to be, but we're going to bring somebody in to be that guest to help us to be able to raise the money. It's the hardest thing I ever did and are doing is to raise money for Black and brown kids. I can raise more money for dogs than I can to help Black and brown kids.
Well, here I'm a living testimony for him. My bottom line is that he puts his mouth where money where his mouth is. I participated in a couple of his events, and I told him as well as that he can count on me, because the bottom line is he's making a difference, and making a difference is not showing up or being there once or twice. It's being there consistently, and you're providing that consistency to the community. As a matter of fact, I even taken your same platform. I have a college scholarship at Long Beach Poly. I don't know if you know about Long Beach Poly, the beach, where Snoop Dogg, Deshaun Jackson, Willie McGinnis, Tony Hill, Gene Washington. I mean, we got more NFL players than any high school in the nation. But I have a scholarship in my parents' name, Bernice and Leroy Hill Athletic Academic Scholarship. And it's given to Black kids, to have that opportunity. But I'm patterning myself a little bit after you, and I reached out to you in terms of how can I do more. And so that's one of the things that we're going to be doing as far as doing. Charles does turkey handouts. He's there for them during Christmas, during Thanksgiving, and he's got the players that come out there to support him. So you're talking about Breakfast with the Boys. You got a real Hall of Famer right here in our studio, and we're glad to have you, brother, because you're doing a lot of positive things, And when we say that, we talk about breakfast and breakfast with the boys. That's my deal. Smorgasbord, eat whatever you want. Breakfast, Charles. What do you have for breakfast? I'm not talking about during the season, but what's your favorite breakfast? We talked to Tony Dorsett. And
then we'll wrap with that, with his favorite breakfast.
Yeah, I'm over here. I told him, I'm a grits and sausage and little eggs over there. I mix them together. And then so T goes, I'll some eggs, and I'll take some grits. And Ant goes, hey, what do you say?
I said sugar or salt, but what's your favorite breakfast?
Mine is just yogurt and
come on, man, don't do yogurt.
Protein shake for breakfast. But if I'm having a meeting with somebody, I'll do eggs and bacon and pancakes. But it'll be a veggie omelet.
Oh snap!
But I'm way overweight, and I have to watch what I eat. So because I got all those underlying disease that African American get, so I got to really watch because I want to be here for my grandkids.
Oh, there you go. You know, one of the things that we're going to close with that being said, you know, we didn't talk about your back injuries. We didn't get a chance to talk about all your acclimates in terms of the Super Bowl rings, 5 Super Bowl rings, and who's the toughest player that you.
Well, just bring me back again.
There we go. Because we just wanted to talk to you and just talk about Charles Haley, so they can hear about some of the things about that you don't normally talk about. Everybody's always hearing about the accolade, but they're not finding out what built that car. You know, what do we got? What's underneath that hood? What kind of engine we got in there? And now you get a chance to see what Charles Haley is all about. But more than anything, we want to have you back on.
No problem.
And
yes, sir. And we'll close with that. This is another episode of Breakfast with the Boys. Charles, we love you. We appreciate you, man.
Hey, thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, brother.
Have you ever took a journey to the other side? Come on, take a ride. Have you ever took a journey? We gon' feel alive.